Salute to you all. The brave never fall. It is incredibly cold outside, and as always, I like to do most of these throughout the week while I'm taking a walk or after I've taken a walk, because there's nothing better than fresh air, breathe into the lungs, seeing nature, seeing that things are bigger than you. And that's the best way to start the morning for me personally, is to get outside and get some of that fresh air, no matter what the temperature is, even if it's for a few minutes. Take the time to go outside, breathe in some fresh air, and try to get balanced as best you can before you start the day. And if you get up and at 'em, and you can hear the wind is blowing out there pretty hard, it's some of the most gusting winds I've seen in a long time, and I think is actually perfect for a backdrop for this video, or for this podcast, I should say. I have been thinking a lot about unrealistic expectations, and I've been having a conversation with a good friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, and this person has been going through a lot and trying to overcome things, and a lot of times it's fine to push yourself. It's fine to have the mindset of being really disciplined. I appreciate that in every person. I definitely tried to do that for myself. But there does come a point where you can be so optimistic, so ready and eager to have things happen positively for yourself. And you envision things and you're dreaming of things, and you feel like you've put in all the effort and all the time and all the wisdom, and you've gotten rid of all the negative things that you possibly can get rid of. Yet you're still stuck in this bubble of what you feel like has not been given to you justly, that you deserve something, that somehow people should understand exactly where you're coming from, and they should be more sympathetic to you and empathetic and more kind and caring and nurturing and listen to you and be there for you no matter what. When you need something, when you want something, these people are there for you. And I had to remind this person, unfortunately, that's not the case. There is a such thing as having unrealistic expectations out of life. That doesn't mean you shouldn't dream big, because you should always, always thrive to dream big. Not survive to dream big. Thrive to dream big. Because whenever you dream big, you're going to leapfrog over all these people who are not dreaming at all, or just at an average level. They haven't reached your level because you're beyond that. And even if you don't succeed, we know about this. Even if you don't succeed, if your bar is raised high enough, you're going to get over the people who didn't raise the bar nearly enough or not at all. That being said, you can't expect to go from 0 to 100 overnight. You have to accept the fact that the feeling of getting that ultimate reward of satisfaction of reaching your goal, or even coming close to it, and looking back and saying whether you got the goal or not, look at all the positive things that happen. Don't miss out on all that positive stuff by focusing on what you still don't have. Look at what you do have. What's right before your eyes? What's in your grasp that you should keep and hold on to, even though it's not perfect? It's not the ideal situation. It's not the ideal job. But when you look back on it and you reflect and you give yourself enough time to consider all the alternative possibilities of what you could have and where you could be, is what you have currently enough to build upon for you to still be able to reach and go beyond possibly your goal? Have you contemplated that enough? It's very easy to get into a cycle of yourself, because you should. You should worry about yourself first, because you are no good to anyone else if you haven't figured out yourself first. Your self-love is the most important thing. That's the root and the basis of everything. When you start believing and loving yourself, everything else will come into your life. However, just because you have found self-love and you've found value and you've raised the bar and you feel like you're in a place to now thrive on your journey and appreciate and accept all the challenges that comes along with that, you also have to keep things in perspective. You have to keep things in perspective. You can't not get tunnel vision. You cannot look down. You have to keep your head up, your shoulders back, and you have to believe. It sounds corny, it's cheesy, but you have to believe. You don't hope. When it comes to your self-love, you believe. Hope is a great word. I love hope, because hope is what's going to get you over that finish line. But you also need to believe. You have to believe, and you have to trust in your process. You have to slow down. Slow down. Don't look at your feet while you're walking. Don't try to outwalk someone else or outrun someone else. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about people judging you. Don't worry about what the weather's like. Don't worry about how much money you have in the bank. Don't worry about how your car is running. You have to stay centered on yourself first. Then you go out and fix all those other problems. One at a time. One at a time. There's only so many hours in a day, and you can't waste them by contemplating all the things while you're working on absolutely zero, nothing. Again, when you lay your head on your pillow at night, the number one thing that should go through your head is, did I accomplish everything I should have accomplished? Not what I wanted to accomplish. Did I get the base stuff down? If nothing else, did I get the base stuff down? Did I get the things that I needed to get done today done to the best of my ability and as efficiently as possible? And if I didn't, what do I do tomorrow to correct those mistakes? When you have unrealistic expectations, that conversation before you go to bed is going to be quite different. Because you're not thinking about the day. You're thinking about days that aren't going to be here for a very long time, and you have no control over it. And there's a lot of variables that's going to happen in between that time that are out of your control, that are going to affect those outcomes and projections and manifestations and visions you have in your head and the stories you're telling yourself. You're putting too wide a margin. One thing I love about goals, big, large goals, when you're walking on your path and you're thriving on your journey and you look up and you look at the horizon, you're not looking down. You're opening your field of view. One thing I love about goals, and it's very clear when I run. When I'm running a marathon, I'm not looking down. I'm not looking side to side. I'm looking ahead and I'm looking at the horizon. Because that's where the finish line is. The finish line is not before me on the ground. It's not beside me. It's not behind me. The finish line is ahead of me on the horizon. And when I look at the horizon while I'm running, I can see my goal clear as day. Clear as day. It doesn't even seem like it's that big of a deal when I look at the horizon because I know it's there. But I've also accepted the fact that it's going to take me a while to get there and it's going to be damn hard. I have to believe I can make it. And I have to also believe in myself and be proud of myself that I'm even in the race, that I have taken advantage of all the positive opportunities that were afforded to me and all the special people that I'm privileged to have in my life that have pushed me and given me clarity of thought and reassurance to know that I can finish this damn race. It is a marathon. It's equivalent to life, which is why marathon running is one of the things that centers me the most. When I'm running, it reminds me just how tough life can be, but it's also the satisfaction of knowing when I finish that run, I've accomplished something. I set out and accomplished a goal, no matter how small it was and how insignificant it may seem to others. It was my goal, and I achieved it. When you lay your head down at night and the day's over and you've had a bad day, things didn't go right, it's very easy to get caught in a web, in a cycle of that, because it's all about momentum. Momentum will push you in a direction so quick, and it will snowball, and you'll look back and say it was just that one day where I slacked off a little bit. I allowed the outside forces of the world to enter my mind, enter my body, and in my heart, and knock me off balance. And the sad part about that is, a lot of people don't have the strength to recover from something that simple. And it is very simple when you think about it, when you contemplate and you actually care, and you start putting things in perspective. What was it that day, that week, and that month, that year, that ultimately let you down enough where you felt like you couldn't rebound from a set of circumstances, a set of people? What was it? What things could have you done differently? Are you the cause of the problem? And that's another huge thing in this equation. A lot of times we forget when bad things happen to us over and over and over again, we forget that there's always one common denominator, and that is you. For better or for worse, whatever you're going through, you will always be the common denominator. And when I started figuring that out, I started understanding that if I'm going to be the common denominator, am I going to be a negative common denominator or a positive one? Or a balanced one? Because unfortunately, that common denominator, as in all things in life, it is an equation. But sometimes we don't get to choose how that equation is put together. If you're in class and the professor goes to the board and throws the equation together, you don't have the benefit of saying, I would like this perfect equation because that's easy for me. I know I'm going to get that right every time. No, it's the ones that he puts up on the board or she puts on the board that you're not prepared for. But there's certain things in there that you understand, but you got to figure it out. And a common denominator could be in every single equation. You still have to figure it out. You're the common denominator. You have to figure it out. You can't keep blaming other people for how you feel. Ultimately, you have to try to find a place where you're at peace no matter what's going on. And accept the fact that you cannot control other people and you cannot control other people's circumstances. Unrealistic expectations is ultimately one of the biggest things I see that gets in people's way. Are you getting in your own way through unrealistic expectations? Are you wanting too much too fast? Are you wanting too much money that you haven't earned too fast? We've talked about this before in life with a lot of people. I'm sure you've had a conversation with this a lot. You ever meet someone who wanted the dream job but could not succumb to the pressure of that job? They wanted the job, they wanted the money, they wanted the hours, they get the weekends off. Unfortunately, they forgot they actually have to work to earn all of it. Anyone can be offered a job. Can you thrive and succeed and get better at that job and climb up the ladder so you're the boss of the job you were offered? That should be your goal with everything in life. I don't want to be just a worker. I want to be the best worker. I view it as a competition against others, a healthy one, and I let my coworkers know that. Whenever I get hired anywhere, I let them know, I'm going to try to take your job. It's tongue-in-cheek. But that's the mentality. It gives you a reason to go to work and actually work hard. No one's asking you to come home with your hands bleeding and your head pounding. But it gives you a reason to get through the day. And it's a benefit because you're pushing yourself, you have a goal, and you're also, to your peers, you're leading by example. You will elevate every time with that type of mentality. But what's the common denominator there? That's a positive common denominator. Those are realistic expectations. You're not getting in your own way. And that's better than coming into the same scenario as a job and saying, I deserve to get this guy's position. And I deserve this much money. And I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to alienate myself and I'm just going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to talk about this person and gossip to this person until I get to the position that I want to be. because I want that money. I want that person's job, and I don't like that person. Common denominator, negative ledger. Because what's going to happen is you're not going to get that job. The people around you aren't going to like you. And even if you did manage to scheme your way into the position, you didn't earn it. Because you didn't believe you could earn it the positive way, the right way. You went into it with the wrong mindset. You didn't believe in yourself. So when you have that mindset, that is an unrealistic expectation. You have to earn everything you get. And people notice that. And you will run people away with feeling like they can't ever live up to your dream and expectations. It becomes exhausting for people. It becomes exhausting. Especially when people are trying to help you and people are being patient with you and people want you to succeed. They want you to be happy. But I've seen it too many times where people will sabotage very perfectly well put together scenarios for themselves. Like they've put themselves in a good position and they end up blowing it because they want everything without having earned it. They don't understand that maybe the problem is they need to slow down, look within, and contemplate why it is they feel like they feel this way in the beginning. There's always a reason why you feel the way you do about anything. What would be the reason why you would want something way too fast without trusting the process, without believing in other people? And why is it you expect these people to conform to what you want based on the fact that you're emotional about it and it's something important to you? Because on the opposite side, these people are going through things as well. You can't control people or their circumstances. And I know this because I was the living definition of unrealistic expectations for a very long time in my life. I wanted all these things that I thought was fair to me, that should be in my life, but I hadn't really earned them. Not by a long shot. I wanted this person in my life, but I hadn't earned that person. I wanted this money, but I didn't want to work for it. All these scenarios, all these things, I wanted just to land in my basket. Drop from the sky, land right in my basket. There's my gift. I'll walk off. Haven't earned any of it. So I know through experience what unrealistic expectations will get you. And it's not good. So what I've learned to do is accept everyone for who they are, inside and out, better or for worse. I can choose whether or not I want that person in my life or not. So it doesn't matter to me if someone's good or bad. I've learned that no matter what you say to people, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a threshold that you will not be able to cross with certain people based on who you are. You are who you are. And you're constantly working on yourself. But there are people in your life that are going to come into your life that are special. There are situations that are going to come into your life that are special. Things, opportunities. Your dreams will become realized because you're in the right place. We're not talking about people who are lost. We're talking about people who are thriving on their journey, who've made the decision to move forward. But you have to take advantage of what you're seeing around you. You have to trust each step that you take is the right step in the right direction. You have to look at the horizon and know you're going in the right direction. And the ones beside you who are along on the journey with you are going to be there. You can't get impatient. You can't set the bar so high where there's nothing in between for you to even get there. You have to keep climbing. You have to keep adding bars in between, little smaller goals. And appreciate those goals. And appreciate those people, those places, those things, the things that bring positive value to your life. Don't lose them because you're getting impatient. Don't sabotage your own future with having unrealistic expectations. Don't run people away by being a person who is so tunnel vision about what you expect things to be that when those things get out of the realm of that tunnel, you classify it as a disappointment. They're not disappointments. They're learning experiences. They're milestones of trust. Because each time you pass that milestone with this thing, this person, this place, whatever it is that brings value to your life, whenever you cross those milestones, that's another notch of trust, of belief. You've made it one step further and added more weight to your self-love and to the bonding and connection to this person, this place, or this thing. Especially with people. Because trust is so important with people. But sometimes you can want things so bad, people are afraid to disappoint you. They're afraid to disappoint you because they care about you. They see that you're a good person. They see that you're heading in a positive direction. They've seen where you've been. They know what you've been through. They can see you're heading towards your goals. And they know you're going to get there. And they want to be by your side every step of the way. They don't want to detract anything from you. They don't want to be a distraction. They want you to be happy, healthy, and thriving. But unfortunately, because we're all people of common denominator in this equation of our own lives, we can often slightly take these people for granted. You take your workplace for granted. You take your material objects for granted. You take your own damn goals for granted. Nothing's gifted to you. Nothing is just going to be handed to you. Nothing's a privilege. Nothing's a right when it comes to your goals. You have to earn all of it. It's a privilege to even have the opportunity to get to your goal by walking on your path, because so many people have died trying to do it. So many people have had their opportunities taken away through illness, bankruptcy, divorce, real world problems. We have to pick our battles. We can't sit in a negative spot hoping and praying that everything works out when it comes to other people and their circumstances. You have to stay focused on your goal and appreciate those people. Let those people know you care about them. Go to work and put in a hard day's work. Don't slack off. It's okay to have days where you're a little bit down. It's okay to have days where you are going 100% and it just doesn't feel like it's working out for you. But you know what? You're learning what happened that day. What are the things that happened that day you could have done better? What could you said better to this person? Were you listening hard enough to this person? Were there people you could have helped that you turned your shoulder to? What are the things you could have done better? For yourself, not for other people. You're the common denominator. Sabotaging yourself is one of the things I try to tell any person when I'm trying to help them. Give yourself the opportunity. Someone may break your heart. Trust them. Until they have broken your heart, give them a shot. The workplace that you feel like you have the just due to walk into the boss's office and demand a raise and demand a better position, keep working. Prove it to yourself that you earned it. And then go some other place after you've acquired the proper skills and the proper time and you know you've done all the work, then you know you can get hired on anywhere else. Life is happening. Regardless of what you say or what you do, you can't control other people. You can't control all the outcomes. You could put in all that hard work at work and they'll hire somebody that day who's more qualified to you, and what are you going to say? They know more than you, and that's that. Your workplace doesn't owe you anything, and neither do other people. We would like to feel that way. Even with our children, we would like to feel that way. But we're all breathing human beings. How you handle things is how you handle things. You have to understand, you have to figure that out for yourself, because everyone is different. You can only give someone so much advice about trust in their own process. How you react to people is huge. No matter who it is. It could be your mother, it could be your father, your kids, it could be your boss, friends. How you react to people is huge. Because it's a very simple matter. If you don't like what other people are doing, you have the opportunity to change that for yourself. Some situations obviously are harder than others. No doubt about that. But that's what contemplation comes in. No matter how perfect we believe we are, how well we want people to treat us, it could also lead you into a dark place. And that's another thing I try to tell people is you just want to avoid that negative side no matter what. Because once you get over there, you're going to start picking up all types of darkness and hate, and you're not going to forgive. You're not going to trust anyone. You're going to alienate yourself based on things that are never going to change in life, because people are people, and most people aren't fully fleshed out. They don't know who they are. There's only a small percentage of people out there who actually can go through life and try to not bother other people and not make mistakes, and they're just in their own worlds, and their common denominator seems like it's on point. And then you find out there's things about them that aren't all on point, meaning we're all flawed. We're all flawed. We all make mistakes, but that doesn't mean every person that wakes up is malicious. It doesn't mean every work situation you get into is a situation that cannot be overcome through learning. You take the best of a bad situation, you learn as much as you can at that job, and you move on after you've acquired skills, and that is about as all you can do with some of these situations. You could sit and you can wait and wait and wait for the perfect person, the perfect job opportunity, the perfect car, the perfect whatever. But life is going to keep happening around you. I say look to the horizon and trust. And the people that are in your life that have the potential to be there and support you, and you feel as if that even though things are good, they could be better. You could say that about anything at any time. Anything could be better. But believe me, anything could be a lot worse as well. Anything. Don't take for granted the positive people in your life. Don't take for granted a job situation that you feel is not great, because it could be a lot worse. The house that you're in, maybe not great, could be a lot worse. The food you eat, not great, could be a lot worse. The people in your life, your family, everything, remember, everything could be far worse. Far worse. There are people starving all over this world as we speak. There are children dying of thirst. There are people in poverty. There are people going through cancer. People losing their children to cancer. There are people who are losing their jobs. There are people who are retiring, who are going right back into the workforce for another 20 years because they don't have enough money for retirement. There are people who are losing their homes. I think about that every day. Out of all that darkness, you have to hold on to the really good pieces, even if they're not great. You have to believe in them and trust in them. Be patient with them. The people who love you, don't turn them away by being impatient. Don't turn them away by taking them for granted. Don't lose a good job because you want so much that you end up in a workplace that is going to cause you so much stress where you end up making really bad decisions. When you were in a place that was comfortable for yourself at that time and had the opportunity to rise up, no one's asking you to settle. That's not what we're talking about here. Settling is not the answer either. I fundamentally disagree with settling on anything. There's always things that can be improved. You just don't want to go backwards. And since there are no guarantees in life, going backwards is very easy. When you don't keep things in perspective and you have unrealistic expectations about where things should be based on things you cannot control. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. You are a good person. You are making the right decisions. You are a person of integrity, high quality character and you bring value to people's lives. People want you in their lives. You are special. People love you. I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall.